Has has being a Division I athlete made you make different decisions on anything rather than if you weren't an athlete based on college?
I think most definitely. I don't think I would be able to get into the school. I don't think I'd be able to get into Duke at all. Honestly, if I was to go like through like regular door and through like academically, it's something I'm like not academically strong. I think that maybe Pilaki helped me really well with that because of the SAT and everything like that. I didn't have to have a score or anything. So I think that really helped, and I probably would have been looked at by a bunch of other schools that would have given me the same opportunity. So yeah.
So kind of looking through like your journey to going to Duke next fall, what has been your least far like favorite part of the process or like favorite part of the process? So least favorite, most favorite.
I really enjoyed recruiting, but I would say the least favorite part would probably be like probably the application process and everything like that, and like making sure to get everything in and like talking to my coaches and making sure all my grades were like the right, especially the SAT, like the baseline for that. So I think just getting everything in and like being on top of all my stuff was like more difficult and like required more work. Like sit down and actually like do it instead of like talking to other people and like getting their insight on the school.
What's your favorite part? Or what was your favorite part?
My favorite part I think would be the recruiting part aspect of like talking to the coaches and then like visiting the schools and seeing which school was best fit for me because I got to interact with a lot of different people from like around the country and around the world, and I think just seeing different cultures and like team diversity. So yeah, definitely that piece.
So because you're kind of at the end of the recruiting process or the journey kind of to end when you end up at Duke next fall, what would you say to someone that is going through or just about starting the process? What's your kind of like biggest advice you would give them?
I would say just kind of keep your options open. Don't like limit yourself to what schools like you want to go to and what schools that you think you can't get into. I think that just like reaching out and like talking to coaches and just putting yourself out there is always the best thing to do. Like if you're at like a showcase, like email coaches and say like, oh, I'm playing at this time and this is my schedule, like this is my number, come see me. I think that just like sparks interest, and even though they can't respond because of like rules and everything like that, but I think that's like the best thing to do is just to put yourself out there and like just be yourself, honestly.
To kind of build off that question, like what would have oh, sorry.
Yeah,
What would you have wished like you known before starting the recruiting process, before you even started?
I think probably like the hardest part for me was like narrowing down like my decision and like what school I really wanted. So I think maybe doing my research first instead of just going on and like being like, oh, this school's interested or this school's interested, and just kind of like narrowing down what I wanted in the school. Something that probably is really helpful, and just like making sure the whole school has everything you want instead of like going out there and just like being like kind of like a deer in headlights and make no idea what you're doing.
During the process, to kind of build off of that, would you say that like going through the process like with different offers and stuff like that, like why Duke out of all of the other offers you had?
I think just because when I was on campus, I felt like most at home. I like enjoyed the area, and when I was there, like the girls and the team, everything, the environment there just felt like right to me and the fit. But I just wanted a school based with academics and athletics. I want that balance in between. And I know Duke could give that to me, and I wanted to like play at a school that was really competitive and was willing to like sacrifice. And the biggest part about Duke is their student athlete support. They're like number one for that. So it's what I really need with like academics and everything. So that's why I chose Duke.
And if there's anything differently you could have done through the process, what would that have been?
Mm, I think probably reaching out to people who go to the
Would you do anything differently if you were to do the recruiting process again?
I would probably most likely reach out more to the people that are already there at schools. So, for example, if I was to talk to someone who went to Penn, kind of get a different perspective on it instead of like the coach's perspective, I think just reach out to the athletes there that are currently at the schools probably would have impacted me more.
And finally, the last question. This is kind of more towards this year because of COVID and everything. So, how has COVID kind of impact like where you were in the process?
COVID hasn't, I mean, obviously COVID's been difficult this year, but it hasn't really affected me that much in the process. Just like being able to get out and play and like keep training and working hard and then just keep up with my grades. But I think the biggest thing is just being able to train. But for the process like that, other than that, but then I would also say that the SAT, which was a blessing in disguise for me, I didn't have to take the SAT. it was test optional for Duke and most of the schools in my class, so that was really good. But I didn't have to do that.
Thank you, Josephine.